So meanwhile, that's what I gotta do. Now I can start putting this together somewhat. Maybe I'll start doing that. There's really no reason why I can't. What I do want to do is, I noticed, I'm sure you did too, that this is a little flimsy here. So the rest of the structure will be fine once it gets together. However, I want to make sure that where I am putting it together, here especially, I want to make sure that it's going to have enough meat to grab into. So I'm thinking of splitting a one by one strip so that I can tack it into both on all four corners lengthwise, so that I know that the bottom structure, which is going to be holding everything, is going to be secure. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to be putting this stuff over here for a minute, because I do have to run some Mumbai. So what I'm going to do, I may even have some already. So let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Yeah, you know, I got another piece here. Same size. Same color code. But much, much firmer and heavier in general. Not as floppy. You know, not as like that. It's nice and stiff. I'll show you in a minute. Alright, let me see what I got laying around. I should have some stuff here that I don't have to cut. I would think anyway, because I was making trim some time ago. And what do I have here? You know what? I bet you. You know what? I got some here. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to leave you alone. There. Because I made my own trim for the kitchen. You know, for up above and down below. So Yo, Chris, what's up? Yeah, I'll be there in a second. I'll be right there. Guys, I'll be back in a second. Chris wants me to look at the hitch before he goes any further. You had enough. Alright, so anyway, that was Chris. He wanted me to go over and take a look at the hitch. He's really meticulous when he does things, which you like. You know, if there's a washer left over or a screw left over, he'll disassemble the whole thing again just to make sure that it's right. I mean, he's just really meticulous on what he does. And he wanted to make sure that I was going to be happy with the way it was sticking out, because if he had to do any custom modifications or weld it on even, he was willing to do that. And I said, Chris, just do what it wants you to do. I said, that's fine with me. You know, he says, well, they were talking about it drilling another hole and this and that. And they were, but it came with 12 bolts. 4 3/4 and 8 of I forgot what the other ones were. Just as big. I said, so as long as you use what it says that, you know, it has, that's basically all I care about, Chris. Don't go out of your way, you know, don't go crazy, you know. So then he says, well, there's just one thing he wants to do. I said, well, okay, what's that? He goes, part of this bracket for the hold on. Part of the bracket there for the hitch or receiver is about a 1/4 inch from the tailpipe. He says, and it may rattle on you, so I want to grind that down a little bit. Just, Chris, I do appreciate it, because that would drive me nuts, you know, for sure. So that's what he's doing now. But like I say, he's a good mechanic. He really is, and he's a good neighbor. You know, he's one of the best neighbors I've had in a long time. I mean, I always had good neighbors, so I don't want to say I never had good neighbors, but let me see. I'm looking for a brad gun here. Let me see. I think this is it, or is it not? And we'll find out in a minute. So, yep, this is it. The electric brad gun. But like I say, all in all, he's a good neighbor and a good guy. Come on, get in there. There you go. There you go. Let me see here. Let's load this puppy up. You're okay, bud. You don't have to go anywhere. You're okay. Okay. So let me get some glue. This is just a little water that I keep in a little container here that I use this brush on because it's just something that I always did. I don't just glue, I always have a tendency of using a little water, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that. But I was told by my grandfather many years ago, and I'm sure back then it had to be done. I don't know with the new glues out there nowadays if it's something that has to be done or not, but he says you want to water or wet, damp down the items that you're gluing, because that'll help the glue expand and dry into the wood and not just on the wood. You want it to grab into the wood. Now it makes sense, so you know what? Who am I to argue? So I said, okay. Okay. If that's what you say, Pop, that's what I'll do. That's the same with paint, believe it or not. I've probably said this 100 times before. I know people that will go out and paint their house and they say, I have to paint it every couple of years. It keeps peeling. And I put a good heavy coat of paint on it. Well, you know what? That heavy coat of paint is not helping you. because that's why it's always peeling. You know, but you want thin coat. You want your first coat to be thin so that it actually soaks into the lumber, the wood, the house. And then your second coat will stick to the first coat that's stuck and dried into the house. Makes sense to me now, doesn't it? Now I usually keep a hammer over here. Now why don't I see it over here? Why don't I see my hammer? Okay. Yeah, I'll drop that. And that's round, so if I step on that, I'll end up on my ass. Now where the hell's the hammer? Well, I like to blame it on my wife, because I know she was using it. And I always tell her, put things back exactly where you found them. And she has a habit of forgetting where she found them. So she puts it back wherever she thinks it should be. What are you gonna do? I love her anyway. Alright, so that takes care of that one. Now let me cut another one that I have over here. I should cut it the exact same size, so let's see. I think they were the same size to start with. What are you talking about, buddy? Great watchdogs, with great pain in the asses. You know what, though? I wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, so I gotta get two more for the other side. I just want to make sure that I have a pretty good frame here as far as it goes, and this is also going to be the heat box, so I want to make sure that we're all set here. Even though I can't find the other hammer, that's going to drive me nuts. Nutty, nutty, nutty. Hey, Duff. How you doing, buddy? You can come in here. You don't have to stay out there. You know the saws are not going to bother you. Let's put this one down here. Like a saw. Like a saw. Now I know I'm going to have to put more brads in this because I just know that I was low to start with. Flip it over and get a couple on the other side. Yeah, Just as I said, I knew it was coming. That should be enough for now. There. Okay. Move this out of the way. This isn't the hammer, by the way. This is the front and back of the actual bird condo. You don't need a lot. And half the time this watered down water is got glue in it anyway, because if I happen to wipe it with the brush real quick, glue gets on the brush, and then I just stick it in here. If you look at that, it's kind of creamy gluey. So nice day today. Nice day today. If he gets the van back quick enough, and I can get down to Home Depot and back quick enough, I may tackle the alarm, because it's a nice day. I'm not totally in a frame of mind, but you know what? It's one of those days to once I get going on it, I know I'll be alright. But it's also one of those days to where there's 100 other things I gotta do. So we will see. We will see what we will see. How duff. Where you going, buddy? I mean, they're used to me doing this, so it's not like a big deal to them. I kind of set the brads in on an angle, and sometimes I'll go one this way and one that way instead of straight down. I'm just thinking it's making it a little bit harder to pull out, plus it gives them more of a bite. It's just my way of thinking. Right or wrong, I don't know. But it's whatever makes me happy. Okay, I think, I don't know if I have enough in here now or not. Let's see. Maybe not. I should be using the horseshoes. Nope, are we empty? No, almost. Not so much horseshoes, but more of a staple, if you know what I mean. I have another one up there that'll actually shoot a 2-inch staple, as well as brads. Come on. There. Okay, so there's that part. Now what's going to happen is the light bulbs are going to go in this way, and they'll be in here coming out this way, and this will be getting hot. This will be heating up. So this whole chamber will be getting warm. And this is also the floor of the birdhouse. So as it gets warm, this is going to heat up and radiate a little heat up into the birdhouse. So that's how that works, if that gives you any idea. Well, in this case, it's going to be a duplex or a condominium, whatever you want to call it at this point, because there's going to be, I believe I counted 5. 1, 2, 6. 6 units. There's going to be 6 units in here. So, I don't want to put this part on yet because it'll be a little tough for me to get in there to do that. However, I can put this side on. So let me see if I have a few more pieces here that's already cut that I can use. Yes, there is. Right here. I'll put this right here. Let me chop it. Which means I gotta bother you guys. And again, the good Lord says bend over, you need exercise. So I'm going to make you drop the wood. Okay. I hear you. A little water. Again, I don't know if it's needed or not. If I remember right, I think the Gorilla Glue actually wants you to use a little water. I don't remember. I know there was one of them out there that said use a little water. Dampen the wood. Come on, here we go. Now, let me get some brads. What size is these? That's 3/4 18 gauge. 3/4 18, 18, 18. Okay. Go over to the big stuff. Staples. No, we don't need that one. That's way too big. Way too small. Jeez. You think I would organize my staples. What's this one? 3/4? No. Jesus. Did I buy enough 3/4? 1 1/4. There we go. 1 1/4 is going to be a little too much, but that's okay because it's not going to be inside to where everybody's going to get pricked with it, so I don't care. If you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm talking to you. $4 knife. Had it for years. When I say years, I'm not talking like decades. I'm talking 4 or 5 years. It was $4, $5. I throw it on the belt sander every now and then and sharpen it. That works fine. No problemo. We are locked and loaded. Speaking of that, I gotta get to the range. I haven't been to the range in a while. I mean, I was there doing a class, but I mean, I'm not there to shoot, you know, and I normally don't shoot when I'm doing classes. And if I do, it's not that I'm enjoying myself. And then you know what I find? You guys may or may not realize it, you guys that teach, but your students start to become competition with you. You know, they see you shoot and all of a sudden it's not a class anymore. They're trying to outshoot you, and then it becomes a bit of a pain in the ass. And some of them are good, you know, but I'm not there to get into that right now. I'm there to teach you. Pay attention to what I'm teaching you. Don't pay attention to how I'm shooting. Pay attention to how you're shooting. And that's the problem. Because if you're not shooting right, you're going to screw up. And if you screw up, you're not going to get certified. I will not certify you. Just because you're paying, you're not being certified unless you pass. That's all there is to it. That's the name of the game. You can't buy safety. You have to learn it and earn it. Now, if I have to stay there with you because you're just not getting it, well then I can understand and I'll stay there with you. But if I have to stay there with you because you want to be an idiot, well then I'm not staying. And you're not certifying. And you're going to have to come back. And we're going to have to go through this again. And you're going to pay again. I've stayed with some of these guys and girls for as long as 15, 16 hours to make sure they got it right. And I'd say to them, listen, you're not getting this right. So we can either stay, we'll go grab a bite to eat, and come back until we're done, or we'll set it up so you can come back another day. At no extra charge, because at this point they are trying. They're not idiots just thinking that they're going to know everything and they don't have to study to get through it. Because, yes, we do get them. Yeah. And I get people that know how to shoot, that have been shooting, but still can't pass the safety portion of the class. And that's what we're there for. I've been shooting for years. Fine, good for you. And I can appreciate that. I'm glad you've had the opportunity to do some shooting. Not everybody has that opportunity. But you still have to take and pass the safety portion of the class. A number of years ago, well, actually a couple times, a number of years ago, a gentleman gets a hold of me that was with the New York Police Department, that was no longer with the New York Police Department. He was now working for a private contract security firm, but not a firm that just goes out and puts you out on a post someplace, you know, and you're a security guard type guy. Not that kind of a firm. His company that he worked for did heavy duty clientele. A lot of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Excuse me. And he called me up one day and said, listen, there's 5 of us that have to be certified. And, you know, what's the price and what can you do and this and that. I says, well, you know, I need to know a little bit more about you first of all. And that's when he starts telling me that, you know, he was with the New York Police Department for years and had retired. And one of the other guys was with GSA, and another guy was, they're all retired. Another guy was with FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigations. So he's naming them all off. He said, listen, all these guys have ID. You know, I mean, you know, they're a member, they're retired, but they should still have their ID. Yeah, we all have their ID. We can all prove what I'm telling you. I said, all right. I says, I can make it a little bit easier on you. You know, as far as, you know, treating you like kids. I says, however, you're still going to have to take the test. You know. Well, I can understand. Yeah. Okay, good. So I says, we got to meet up, you know, at the range. I says, and I'll take care of you, and, you know, we'll do what we got to do. And they wanted a blue card. Blue card is so that you can work as an armed security person. So I said, all right. He says, well, we have a range at our job, at our post. So if you can come to our post, you know, we can do everything there. I said, that's fine with me. So give me the address. He goes, well, I'll tell you what, meet me at exit so-and-so off of the Merritt Parkway. He says, we'll be there. He said, there's a little, once you get off the exit, there'll be a, you know, you'll be coming off an exit, the road's in front of you, and it's like a side road that goes to the main road. He says, when you get off the exit, there's a spot there that's all dirt that you can just kind of pull into. Pull into that, and we'll meet you there. All right. So I get there, and I pull into that spot, and I'm waiting. And a few minutes later, a black SUV pulls up behind me. Another one pulls up in front of me. All right, these guys are still playing, you know, cops and robbers. All right, I watch too much TV. What's the matter, guys? Hey, come on. All right. So One of them gets out, person down. Okay, I don't have to worry about that. So anyway, one of them gets out and says, "Can you follow us?" I said, "Yeah, I'll follow you." Now I got the GPS in the van. Well, back then it was a sports track, and so not a problem. You know, I'm not going to get lost, that's for sure. So yeah, not a problem. I'll follow you. So I'm following them. And we get to this spot to where there's there's big stone pillars with a big black iron 10-foot high fence, and we're talking like a Fort Knox thing here. And I'm saying, oh, I'm thinking to myself. And then there's cameras, and then there's this big electric gate, black iron gate that opens up, real TV stuff. So I said, apparently they're watching somebody that's got a few bucks. So we pull in, and the driveway had to be a mile long. It was like a non-stop driveway here. And we get there, there was another set of gates to get around this house that had a stone front, big porch, mansion looking, but who knows how many acres of property it has around it. And we get in, and he says, "All right," he goes, "We're here." Okay, that's good to know. I mean, didn't really feel like driving around town to be giving a tour. So, where are we going to do this? Where's the range? He goes, "Well, it's downstairs. We have our control room." "Oh, you got a control room? Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, and it's right off the control room. This here way we can practice while we're there." Well, this is like under the house. So I'm thinking, under the house? Who's going to want to hear all this shooting going on, during the hours when you're home? But meanwhile, under the house, not a big deal. So we go into this basement that's all stone walled, and it's 7-foot ceilings about. Warm, comfortable. Pictures hanging on the wall. President Nixon, Johnson, all these VIP people. Right? And come on, I'm looking at these pictures and saying, "Hey, guy's been around a little bit, huh?" Well, it was a Rockefeller. It was one of his houses. And that's who these guys were protecting. What had happened was, one of the persons in that house used to be the big top shelf, no hire person of Chase Bank. And they would have to, when he retired, part of his retirement was that he gets security for his whole family that live on premises. I think it was 5 years. So they would take the kids to school. They would take the wife shopping. Basically, nobody went anywhere unless they were chauffeured by this security. This security was like the President of the United States. I mean, he had some top shelf security. And that's what these guys were there for. And they had to be armed. Now, even though, here in the state of Connecticut now, even though we're talking retired police, retired FBI, retired GSA, I forgot what the other ones were. Stamford police, Darien. We're talking people that's been around the block a few times, and they're talking, people with experience. They're in their 40s and 50s. So it's not like they're taking somebody out of the out of school. You know, they just graduated. We're talking experienced people here. Well, Connecticut, you still need the blue card. You could be a retired cop. But if you're going to be working as armed security, you need a blue card. Right? And you have to take the test, the class. They don't say, oh, okay, you've been through all the police academies. You've been doing all through this, yada, yada, yada. Here's your blue card. No, you have to take the class. You know? No, I mean, it was good for me because I'm making a few bucks. But at the same token, I mean, it's kind of dumb. But anyway, that's what I did. So I don't know how I got on that, to be honest with you. How did I get on that? Do you guys remember? It'll come back to me, but meanwhile I forgot why I got on it. But I think a lot of it I was getting ready to say that even though you may be this or that or have all the experience, the state of Connecticut still wants you to do what they want you to do. Right? And that's all there is to it. And I'm sure there was something else and somewhere else I was going, but once I funnel off track, I lose track. Okay, so meanwhile, this is where I'm at here as I was talking to you guys. Now what's going to happen there, the bulbs are going to come in this way. Let me turn this so I can see. The bulbs are going to come in this way. I'm going to drill holes. Bulbs are going to come in. Well, I'll drill holes if I have to feed the holder, the bulb socket holder through. If I can bolt it from inside, I won't drill holes. And then the wire will come in one end or the other, I don't know. And it'll feed power to all those bulbs. Now this still has to be encased in some type of galvanized aluminum, you know, something like that, you know. In this case I'll probably, well that's too heavy, I'll probably use the flashing because it's easier to cut and I can bang it into the corners to give me what I need so that this is kind of encapsulated in aluminum or stainless or galvanized or whatever it is that I'm using. And when the bulbs heat up in here, they'll heat that up because that whole thing is going to be encapsulated, and that means all that aluminum or whatever it is I'm using, that's going to also get hot, so it'll give me more of an even heat. It'll act almost like a heat sink, and which will allow the heat to come up through the floor, and at the same token it'll keep all that hard, hot hitting heat that's concentrated in one area. It'll stop that from happening and stop the wood from burning. Because if they move in, we don't want to have them move in and we go out there and have lunch, you know, and have fried canary or something, or a fried finch or whatever you want to call these guys. So we want to make sure that it does its job and they're safe at the same time. Makes sense to me anyway. So I'll probably use the flashing because, like I said, it's a lot easier to work with, and I have it here, so I can probably just do it and get it over with. The other thing I was thinking though is I'm waiting for my van to come back. And he's basically done with it. I told him to call me when he's ready, but he wants to make sure that he goes through everything and make, you know, he's just that way. Because I want to just run down to Home Depot. One is to pick up my vent pipe, and then the other is to go look, because I'm really seriously thinking about trying that leader pipe idea. Hold on, I'm going to go out in the backyard, see if I have a leader pipe to give me kind of an idea what it's going to be.